Okay. So where are we? From chapter 1 to chapter 14, we learned that the main thing we have to do is to try as hard as we could in thought, speech, and action to be perfect, which is what the Beinoni is. Tries to be perfect. He is perfect on the outside, even though he's struggling on the inside. And taking a step back, the whole Tanya, we have to see it as going into a private audience with the Alter Rebbe, with the first Chabad Rebbe, and asking him for advice in our Avodah and our service of Hashem. So when a person is starting his Avodah, a person is starting his relationship with Hashem, so the first question that a person would have coming to the Alter Rebbe is, why is it that on one hand I feel a urge, a desire to connect to Hashem, and then a minute later I have a desire for something else that's not related to Hashem and may even be forbidden. So the pull to the right, the pull to the left, what's wrong with me? So you come to the Alter Rebbe and he says, there's nothing wrong with you. You have two souls. You have two kings. Your body is a small city. There's a war. There's a game of chess. For every white piece, there's a black piece. So he explains to you what your makeup is. And then after each step that the Alter Rebbe teaches us how to have a relationship with Hashem, we do it, we practice it, and then we come back for more. So in the beginning of our service, the first instruction that the Alter Rebbe tells us is just focus on the outside. Just think about your thought, speech, and just worry about the thought, speech, and action. Don't even bother worrying about changing your inside. That was 1 to 14. Comes 15, and now already we're starting to hear a little bit of a different tune. Now we're learning in chapter 15, it's not enough just to be perfect in behavior. Because what happens is if I'm just doing the right thing, saying the right words, thinking the right things, the danger is that it becomes my nature. Either it is my nature or it becomes my nature, and then I'm not serving. I'm not serving God. Serving God means going beyond my nature, going beyond my comfort zone. Now we're coming to Alter Rebbe again. And the Alter Rebbe says, how's it going? And you say, you know what? It's going good. It's going great, Baruch Hashem. But there's a problem. The problem is think of a rubber band. My emotions are over here. I haven't touched my emotions. I haven't worked on them at all. Okay, chapter 15, we're starting a little bit with emotions because I need to have love in order to go the extra step, in order to go from 100 to 101. In order for me to go beyond my nature, what's going to motivate me? I need love. How am I going to get love? I have to think about the greatness of Hashem. We'll only start touching the iceberg of emotions in chapter 15. But until now, we haven't touched emotions. And what are we doing? We're taking the rubber band and we're pulling to get excellent behavior. But my behavior is up here and my emotions are down here. How long can I stretch the rubber band for? How long is it sustainable that I'm going to force myself to do the right thing, say the right thing, think the right thing? But there's a few problems. Number one, it's very, very hard for it to be sustainable because if I'm pulling, the rubber band could just break, I could just burst. Like I could, think about it. If a person's going on a diet, right? And they're on the diet and they're forced. They feel forced. Imagine a kid who's on, who the doctor says you must go on a diet and the child feels forced. So eventually, if they're just forced, how long is it going to last? How long? Eventually, it's just going to plot. It's like, how much could you force a kid? But if there's emotion involved, if the kid understands if the kid understands this is very, very important for my health, then it will be much easier. If your emotions get on board, if your emotions are on board, then it's much, much easier to do the right thing, say the right thing, think the right thing. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to lift the emotions to be aligned, to be on the same page as the behavior. So this is where chapter 16 comes. Chapter 16 says there are two principles by which a Beinoni lives his life. Number one, the first principle, which all seems repetitious because we basically discussed it all, is this concept of mayach shalit al halev, which means the mind rules over the heart. The heart wants to have ice cream, but it's only been 4 hours since I ate meat. Too bad, not happening, impossible. Shut it down. Mind rules over the heart. And that's the principle, that whatever you want, doesn't matter, that the Beinoni, he is ruling, he is in control of the left side of his heart, of every desire, and he's in charge. And sometimes it's easier. Maybe he just finished davening, maybe he's in a good mood, and sometimes it's harder. And when it's harder, we learned in chapter 12 that Hashem comes to his assistance. Hashem comes and helps him. Hashem is the third judge. Hashem helps him to always win. What's basically the strategy? What happens is we have to pump up the intellect, pump up the brain, think about the greatness of Hashem, shine Hashem's light on the godly soul, on the brain. Think about the greatness of Hashem, and that will help us. That will help us go over the edge and do the right thing, say the right thing, think the right thing. And that's the first principle. The Beinoni is someone who has control, always wins. And how does he win? Through using his brain to overpower the left side of his heart. Now we're going to learn a second tool. And what's the second tool? Mayach shalit al halev. Mind rules the heart. I just said mind rules the heart. So it's the same words, but a different interpretation. And the reason why we need a second interpretation is because, do you think that Hashem just wants our behavior, our outside? Hashem wants all of us. Hashem didn't create us and put us down to this earth just that we should only serve him with our outside. For example, think of a relationship. Think of a marriage. A guy will propose to a girl and say, you'll do the dishes and make supper and take care of the kids and do the laundry, and I'll take out the garbage and bring a check home at the end of the week. That's not a marriage. That's a business deal. That's a business relationship. You do this, I'll do that, we'll live in the same house, and that's it. No. If there's no emotion, right? If there's no emotion, it's not a marriage. Hashem doesn't just want our behavior, our thought, speech, and action, because then that's a business transaction. Hashem, you give me health and wealth and children and nachas, and I'll do your mitzvahs. I'll do it. I don't want to do it. I don't care to do it, but I'll do it. I'll do this, you do that, and that's it. That Hashem wants much more than that. Hashem wants our whole self. So when the Alter Rebbe starts, when you're starting your Avodah, just focus on thought, speech, and action. Just focus on the outside. That's step one. But now we have a graduation. Now we're ready to move on to something more. And that's where chapter 16 starts. And so now the first tool that the Beinoni has is Mayach Shalit al Halev. Mind rules over heart. Mind is in charge of the heart, and that's what we learned until now. Now we're going to take the same exact words, mind rules over heart, and we're going to give it a different explanation. And that's the second tool of the Beinani. That's a deeper understanding of Mayach Shalat Alev. And now we're going up a notch in our service of Hashem. And that means Mayach Shalit Al Halev means the mind changes the heart. What happens is the mind, through contemplating the greatness of Hashem, gives birth to love and fear and emotions. And now my emotions could start going up a level. My behavior is over here, my emotions are over here. But if I use my mind to start getting my emotions on board, now I'm slowly picking up my emotions to be on the same page as my behavior. So until now, Mayach Shalat Alev means mind was over the heart. The mind is in control of the heart. The mind gets the final say. Doesn't matter if you want this temptation, we're shutting it down. And now we're saying Mayach Shalat Alev, the mind, through thinking, create emotions, and that way through the mind is a factory. The mind is a factory where you could make emotions, and then once I have emotions, then I could serve Hashem with my whole being. And then it's not so difficult. Doesn't feel like I'm being forced. Now there's excitement. And when there's excitement, two things change. The mitzvah is a different mitzvah. How could I compare doing something because I'm forced to, or doing something because I'm excited to do it? It's completely different. And also the person is a different person.
Does it need to work in this order? You need full mastery of the outside before you get to the emotion? Because I don't know everyone else in here, but I know we talked about it, but I'm not there.
I think it's not that you have to master it, it's just that it happens. Like my husband said for years, thoughts create feelings. And it's so true. If you think about something that can upset you, you can get yourself angry if you dwell on something.
But my thought, speech, and action is not perfect yet. Am I starting to work on the emotions before I get there? That's my question. Does it happen in steps, or is it?
We'll just dwell on the things that are of Hashem, and then it'll just naturally get there.
Right. So it's an excellent question. And the answer for sure has to be, don't wait for perfect thought, speech, and action.
That's not happening.
Well, and I'm going to make and this chapter of Tanya, under the Alter Rebbe, is going to show us that he understands that we are human beings, and he's going to ask another question, which is similar to your question, and even more difficult to answer. To say, of course, yes, my thoughts, speech, and action are not perfect, but I'm trying, and now actually, as I started with thought, speech, and action. Now I have a second tool. I have an advantage now that I'm learning this chapter of Tanya. I have an advantage, and I know that I even have tool number 2 could help me with tool number 1.
I'm going to say that when your emotions are involved, it's easier to have good thoughts.
Right. So yes, of course, use tool number 2 to help you do tool number 1. For sure.
Well, the question is, why did the Alter Rebbe start with first the action and then the emotions? If it's easier to do the action with the emotions.
It's the actions and the thoughts create the emotions. So if you do the right actions, thought, speech, and action, it's going to create the.
Is that what it is?
Correct. That's what I think that you're saying.
So there's definitely something to it, that habit. When you do something, then you can create an appreciation for something. That's definitely part of it. But think of it: how do we educate our children from day one? From babies, when they're a few months old, as soon as they start eating food, we're washing them negavaser. We're saying Maida'ani with them. We're singing Shema with them. So the way of education is action.
Yes.
And also, it's also another reason why it's so important is because this concept of do the right thing, say the right thing, think the right thing, that is That is, in other words, for Kabbalah Sol. The foundation has to be yoke of heaven. The foundation has to be, sometimes I won't have the emotion. Sometimes I'll be not in a good place or not in a good mood. And that the foundation has to be, we do what Hashem says. But it's not enough. It's not enough to just to do what Hashem says, because how long can I just do without my emotions involved? So therefore, we're bringing the emotion. We're speaking about the emotions as well. We need both. But when we start off, we have to have this foundation of Hashem is my king. Not always will I like it. But to have the submission, the nasa v'nishma, first I'll do, and then I'll understand, then I'll hear the concept of Hashem, I'm yours. But I want to be yours, not just in what I do, but I want to be my whole me is for Hashem. But we start off with the outside and then we go to the inside. Excellent question. But this chapter asks another question. And that question is, what happens if I do the work and I think and I contemplate about the greatness of Hashem, and I do as much as I could, and you know what? I don't have an excitement and a love. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it. Sometimes, you could go to shul for Kol Nidre, or you go to shul for Ne'ilah at the end of Yom Kippur, or sometimes Tisha B'Av will fall out on Shabbos and it gets pushed off to Sunday. And on Shabbos, you're not allowed to have any kind of mourning. And then comes Matzei Shabbos, and now all of a sudden you're expected, flip the switch, now be sad. What's if I don't feel sad, or I don't feel inspired? Sometimes a person could go to the kaisel and they see the kaisel and they're weeping, they're crying, they're so excited to be there, they feel so emotional. Sometimes you come to the kaisel, the emotions just aren't. You just don't feel it.
Is it God given or if it's not?
Yeah, that never happened to me yet. But yeah, I could see other things that you were saying could happen.
There's some people are more emotional than others.
No, but there's also
It's not a
sometimes
matter
you're in an
also-
emotional place and sometimes you just can't.
It's not only the fact that you could cry there, like I don't have to always cry there, but I just feel like there's such a serenity there that there's a special serenity that you have there that you don't have anywhere else. It's a higher level of serenity.
That's beautiful that you feel that. That's really
Yeah, I heard.
That's beautiful that you feel that. Rabbi Silverbrook, he was sharing, he was being very honest. And he said that after Gimel Tammuz, after the Rebbe passed away, he had a very hard time going to the Ohel, to the Rebbe's resting place. He was used to the Rebbe in 770 for bringing, and it was just very hard for him. And every time he would go, he just didn't feel anything. And then one year was Gimel Tammuz, he was waiting online for an hour and a half, and he came into the aisle and he burst out crying. And he was happy that he felt emotion. And then saying, it was all about me that I wanted to feel, whatever. He was going into that. But the point is that sometimes a person could go somewhere or do something and say, hey, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And if I don't feel it, or if I have a hard time feeling it, am I a lost case?
Doesn't make you a bad person because you can't feel what somebody else is feeling. But there's so many things that go into why a person is able to feel, koyach to feel. You need koyach just to feel. It's like,
Or I did have a winter because I was there for the succus. It was like the first night of succus. There were tons of people there bumping into everybody. Everybody was her makeup and shiny and new clothes for Yontif. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a total social scene. It like I didn't feel like I was at the Cosel in that same way. And it was very strange. It was like, it's another social gala. Like we're supposed to be, like, where's my feeling? And it was just like overshadowed by everything else going on there for me.
And sometimes we have expectations. I am meant to feel like this, even by a wedding or by a shiva or by a funeral. And sometimes we're just frozen.
Yeah, because there are people, when they hear bad news, I have an aunt that they really feel sad, but they start laughing, but they don't really mean to laugh.
Because they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And then we all start laughing at that.
It's
Right.
not normal.
So
Well, like what you said it for a second, I don't think that's what you're trying to say, but really, the feeling we want is because it's about us. I want to go to the close-up and feel inspired and feel like I have in my heart and this. But if I go there and I'm just saying what I need to say and having in mind what I could, so I don't feel good, but is that less service of God? I don't think so,
Right.
Is it?
So in this chapter of Tanya, will tells you the second principle of the Beinoni, and that is that if you do your work and you try your hardest to contemplate on the greatness of Hashem, and you just don't feel it, you should know that it's not your fault, because different neshamas come from different places. So just like with a pregnancy, a person could be pregnant and the fetus is there, alive and kicking, but it's not revealed. No one sees it. And then you have the birth, and then everyone sees the baby. The same thing is with emotions. Our makeup is a mirror of what's going on, of Hashem's powers. So there's a process of how things happen. First you have Chachma Bina Das, which is intellect. Then you have emotions, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, 6 emotions. And then you have Malchus, which represents action. And that's the normal order of things. First, intellect gives birth to emotions, and then you have action. Now, our neshamas come from all different places in this Seder Shtalshlus, in this Seder Shtalshlus. Thank you. And this chain-like descent. There's 4 worlds. In each world is these 10 powers. And in each of these levels, there's thousands of, maybe millions of levels. And where does your soul come from? So once you hit the emotions, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, the emotions were already born. The baby was already born. But in the places of Chachma Bina, of intellect, over there, the emotions are still in a hidden state, like a pregnant woman, where the fetus is hidden. So if your neshama comes from there, which by the way is even higher, because Chachma Bina is even higher than emotions, then your neshama may, because it comes from a place where the emotions were in a pregnant state, therefore you're going to have a harder time revealing emotions, because that's where your soul comes from. So it's a soul thing. So don't beat yourself up if you don't feel it. If you did the work of contemplation, then Hashem is going to help you. And here comes a verse that we know, and we're going to see the regular explanation of it, and we're going to understand the Hasidic interpretation. And that is, what happens if a person wants to do a mitzvah? They want to do something. Chai Lifeline calls you up and says, could you make dinner for this family? And you say, of course, I'm more than happy to do it. 5 minutes later, they call you back and they say, oh, so sorry, someone else is already doing it. No, it's okay. You don't have to do it. So you had a good thought. You had a good intention, but for some circumstance, something happened, and then it wasn't necessary anymore, or there were some circumstances that didn't allow you to do it. Your car broke down or whatever, and you couldn't do the favor, but you had a machshava taiva. Machshava taiva, a good thought, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mitzarfa lemaisa, Hashem attaches it to action. So we say, if you intended to do it, Hashem considers it done. You still get the mitzvah, right? We tell our kids, you still get the mitzvah. You wanted to do it, you still get the mitzvah. But why is the terminology HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzarfa lemaisa? Hashem takes this good thought and attaches it to action. It should have just said, Hashem takes the good thought and considers it done. Why attaches it to action? So in this chapter of Tanya, it answers that question. And it says, what does Hashem do? Remember, you have intellect, emotion, and action. And that's the regular chain of events. Because I could know a lot of things. But just because I know it, if I'm missing the emotion, doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I could know sugar is not good for me. I could know, smoking is not good. Drinking alcohol is not good. Speaking lashon hara is not good. I can know this. Thinking negative thoughts is not good. I can know it. But if I'm missing the emotion, then I'll say, oh, just a small dose of sugar, just one cigarette, just a little bit, and how much could I get away with? How much could I get away with? And that's basically how we live our life. And that's why we could know something, but not necessarily. We say, do what I say, don't do what I do. Because we always say, we should practice what we preach, but not always does that happen. So what happens is you have the thought, you have the contemplation, you're concentrating on the greatness of Hashem, but you don't have the feeling, you don't have the love, you don't have the excitement, fiery love. What does Hashem do? Hashem takes the thought and Hashem attaches it to the action. Hashem helps you. You're missing the action. So usually it's thought, emotion, action. But now you're missing the emotion. So Hashem comes and attaches it to the action for you. And then, so who cares? The reason why it's so important is because whatever we do, a mitzvah, every time we do a mitzvah doesn't, we don't want the mitzvah to stay here. You want the mitzvah to go up. A mitzvah needs wings. Wings are love and fear. Love is one wing, fear is another wing. When we have the emotions of love and fear, the little mitzvah goes up. So it is important to have the emotion. So there's 4 worlds. Atzilus is the highest, Bria is next, Yetzira is third, and Asiya is the 4th, which is our world. So if in this world I do a mitzvah, just with my natural love, just because I'm a Jew, then it will only go up to one world. It will only go up one world, which is the world of Yetzira. But if I have the emotion, which came through intellect, then it will go up to a second level, to Bria. And also, and the chidush, the new thing that we learn in this chapter is that even if you didn't develop your own emotion and Hashem had to do it for you, Hashem took this good thought and Hashem attached it to action for you, guess what? It will also rise to the higher world of Bria, just like another person who contemplated and did create emotion, and that was the motivation for the action. And this concept of a good thought, of a contemplation that did not bring to real emotion, that Hashem had to mix in and help you out, the word for it is tivuna. Tivuna. And tivuna is a very interesting word. Tivuna, you hear in it bina, which means contemplation, and also tivuna. In tivuna, you see the word ben and bat, which means son and daughter. If chachma which is wisdom, represents the father, and Bina, which is intellect, represents the mother, then Ben, the son, and Bat, the daughter, that represents love and fear. So this word tuvuna is like a mix of everything. It has a little bit of Bina, it has a little bit of I'm sorry, it's understanding, not intellect. Chachma Bina Das is wisdom. Bina is understanding. Okay, I'm getting mixed up. Chachma Bina Das. What's the translation of each one? Das is understanding. Chachma is wisdom. And what's Bina? The English translation of Bina.
I think understanding the talk, like.
Yeah, the Das is understand. Yeah.
No, Bina is,
Bina is where you develop, where you.
yeah, but it's a very deep understanding. Bina is,
So maybe it is wisdom, wisdom, intellect. Wait, with the wisdom, intellect, and knowledge, Chachma Bina Das.
Bina is Chachma's wisdom.
Yeah.
Bina is understanding, and Das is
yeah, but understanding
No,
deeply.
your knowledge. No, that's kind of.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, well, let's just stick with Hebrew words for now. Okay, so basically,
Maybe
Bina.
maybe Bina is the double mitov double. It's like a very deep understanding.
Yeah, Das is the very deep understanding where you start making it personal.
Right.
Um,
Those tuvuna, like a bridge between Bina and God.
yes. Tuvuna. So first of all, Das is also a bridge. Das is a bridge between intellect and emotion. Das is a bridge. And Tuvuna is also a bridge
Between Bina and Das.
between Bina and so.
Tuvuna helps you apply, just like Das.
Tuvuna, right? So Das is application. Das is application. So what is Tuvuna a bridge between? Tuvuna is a bridge between intellect and action. It's in place of emotion. And Das is the place where we start applying it to ourselves. We're going to talk about Das. It's just Das itself. We can have a whole class.
Yeah. Das is, without Das, your intellect is not going anywhere.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I do think it's wisdom, intellect, and knowledge. That's a problem with English translation, that it really means nothing.
It does give you what you need.
Yeah.
It's even confusing, because to us, wisdom and intellect is the same thing.
Right.
So, but let's say a person that before its son develops Alzheimer's, then how could he be over Hashem? Right. And then never, like, what's his purpose?
It's a very good question. He obviously has a purpose.
Yeah.
And
It's Rachmanis.
He's also being a vehicle for us to be crazy.
yes.
Yeah.
So it causes us to do more chesed?
Obviously.
Every person,
Yeah.
as long as they're still breathing, they're still alive,
Yeah.
has a purpose. Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
this Rebbitzin, she used to give classes, and one of the son, she had been a machman that she developed this Alzheimer's, and then they just put her in a home, and she, I don't know if she gets so many visitors. And she's from Borough Park, and she was very frustrated and very had a shul, very sweet and very knowledgeable. And now she had this what do you call it? Tragedy that she does it herself. It's not good.
So Hashem, we can't understand Hashem's ways,
Right.
but it's a challenge that she obviously did not ask for, and it's something that we don't understand why it has to happen. But when we start contemplating the greatness of Hashem, we believe that there's a purpose for everything. I myself, when I was in high school for 4 years, every Shabbos we walked to Kingsbrook, and we visited patients who had no relatives with 10 floors. And there was one particular woman, she was wheelchair bound. She couldn't move. She was completely paralyzed. She herself had volunteered in Kingsbrook for many, 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 many years.
Before that happened. to her.
Before that happened to her. And when we would come, she would say, I'm going to teach you how to be a balabasta.
Mhm,
She knew
mhm,
in her closet the order
mhm,
of the clothing.
mhm,
She knew how many soaps and how many bananas and how many of each and everything she had.
mhm.
And we would come, and sometimes she was the only person that I would stay by because I didn't have time to go anywhere else
Mhm,
because she was just so busy asking us to move things from one place to the other.
mhm, mhm.
Um, but boy, oh boy, when we walked out of there,
Mhm.
did we appreciate life and appreciate the ability to move and appreciate and then I went to seminary and her room was covered with pictures. You could not see the color of the paint of the room because there were so many pictures on the wall.
Greek grandchildren?
No, I don't think it was children. I think it was just volunteers.
Uh, uh,
And boy, did we learn lots of lessons, lots
So
of
they're a
lessons.
teacher as
but then I have
A
a different,
teacher.
I have a different question. When you were saying that the person doesn't choose for them, I once heard that our neshamas, we ask for what we experience, so I don't
Really?
understand it. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm saying,
Just look at this.
yeah, Shivim Panim Latera.
Yeah.
They do say that the neshamas that
Yeah.
there are some children that have special needs, and that the neshama, I don't know how, whatever would request such a thing, so that they shouldn't, be sunk into the temptations of the world. And you see children with special needs, how really special they are.
But don't even get up for them because they know that there's such a special neshama, higher than neshama, holy neshama.
Yeah. I see from Nadine Gilder. I don't know if you've met her. So her son is autistic and she has 3 sons. He's the youngest. And all she could talk about is what a blessing he is in her life. Because of him, she started a whole organization to help parents that have children that have autism. And the way she found her husband, he was so different than her. But she went to some kind of convention or whatever it was. The point, I don't remember exactly details, but basically her husband loved her son. It wasn't his son, no. She was divorced. She was divorced. She was divorced. She had this autistic son. He was the son with autism. He was 5 years old. And Jules, who she ended up marrying, loved him to pieces. And they got married. It's amazing. It's amazing. Her whole career was all because of Alex. And how many lessons has Alex taught us? And he comes to Friday night for dinner. And what is it? So he comes sometimes, he runs upstairs, and what does he come down with? The mitzvah menchies. He wants the mitzvah menchies. He's third in
He's 30?
I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's probably 20s or the older 20s or 30s. And she then it came time for a group home, and she specifically chose to only something in Lakewood where we could have kosher food. That was a decision that she made. But his neshama. His neshama and putting on tefillin and everything, Shabbos and challah and kiddush, everything Jewish he's just so attracted and attached to. It's incredible. Okay, so what were we saying? I forgot where we went with this.
Talked about Tivuna.
Okay, so basically,
You said we're going to answer a different question.
oh, okay. The question was, if I don't feel it, am I lost case? And the answer is no, because as long as you have tevuna, Hashem attaches it to your action, and then it will fly up. The mitzvah will fly up to the world of Bria, which is a place where mitzvahs go when they have emotion that was born from intellect. And that's why the title of the class was the power of tevuna to be wings for a mitzvah. So if you have tavuna, it's not, it wasn't the regular way, it wasn't intellect that created the emotions directly, but it's still going to be wings to bring you up to the same level as if you did.
That you contemplated and you tried to arouse an emotion, but the emotion didn't arouse, that's.
Yeah. So what it basically is it's an appreciation. I don't have a burning love, but I have an appreciation, meaning I realize, I understand that this is valuable. Am I excited? Am I super excited to do this mitzvah? Mikvah. Okay. Am I super excited? I'm not super excited, but I have the appreciation that this is something holy and spiritual and something that's worth everything to do.
One word. It's the process, the exhausting process of getting there. That's that. Exhaustion gets in the way of emotion.
Yeah.
So we're human.
Yeah.
Hashem gives us exhaustion. And then he helps us. He says, I understand why you don't have it. I gave you the reason you don't have it, and I'll help you along.
Right. I'll never forget, I was in Shanghai, China 23 years ago, and a woman, Israeli woman, not religious, traditional, but not, pants and nothing to, not that's just, she wasn't practicing ultra orthodox way, but very traditional. And she comes to me and she says, Hani, I need to go to the mikvah. Would you go with me? And that meant traveling 2 hours to the ocean and jumping into the ocean.
Gosh.
And because she had a hat there to go with a loose fitting robe, a loose fitting thing, and we went during the day, not that night. And she literally jumped in where the ships are. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
No,
Dark, not then. Dirty, dark, murky, disgusting water.
Oh,
and I had like a life-saving tube. She just like jumped in. I was like, I will never complain again, But anyway, and she said to me, I don't know why I do this, but I know that we do this. So that's what I'm saying. You have an appreciation for, this is the right thing. This is holy. This is something that my grandmothers and great grandmothers all the way, all the way to the beginning of to our matriarchs did this. I know I'm part of this chain, and this is what I do. Do I understand? Am I excited to jump into the ocean? Not necessarily, but do I appreciate that this is a holy mitzvah for women? Yes.
How does this differ?
Yeah, but she didn't experience the real experience of being in a clean building and.
She's Israeli. She's Israeli. So the Israelis, they would come for 5 to 7 years on business to Shanghai, and then they'd go back. So she did experience what a real mikveh is, and I'm sure that by now they have a better option.
Okay, you're saying okay. She doesn't understand, but she has an appreciation for the holiness. How does it differ from somebody, we had this discussion this morning, who says, I'm doing it because I have to, because the community, because my parents, but I really don't feel it. How does that?
So that's doing it without appreciation. I'm doing it because I'm forced. There's no appreciation.
Literally.
And again, it's no fault of their own,
Right.
What, no appreciation is no fault?
If a person, they didn't learn Tanya, what should we do? They never learned it. They don't know.
Why they're doing what they're doing. Because my teacher said so.
So then that goes to understanding.
It makes
Because
no sense.
understanding leads to
Right.
the appreciation.
The understanding, exactly. So understanding hopefully should lead to emotion. If it doesn't lead to emotion, at least it should lead to appreciation, which is tavuna.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I told you this chapter in a nutshell. Okay, now the question is, what should be the next step? We could start a little bit learning Tanya inside. Should we do that? Should we? We don't have that much time.
Now we also have the poem.
The poem. Should we do the poem? We could do the poem.
Is
Okay.
directly related to what? The poem?
The poem is directly related to everything that we said.
Okay.
Okay, so we could do
Where
could
did you
do,
put the poem, how come I'm not, I
It's
don't.
on the phone.
I put it on Thursday, Tanya group. Oh, I don't even know if you're on it.
Yeah, you are.
I should be, but I don't see it, it's been come up by me, Tanya and Lakute Sikos.
Oh, so that's a
No,
different
no,
group.
Oh, it's a
Thursday
different-
morning.
Thursday morning, Tanya?
All right, I didn't,
Should be at the top of yours. You're not on Thursday morning, Tanya?
no. I'm on the
Okay.
Tanya and Lakute Sikos.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you there. I'm gonna send it to you directly right now.
Thank you.
And then we'll add you to the group as well.
Okay.
Okay, share.
You're right. I don't know why, you used to be on it, you were on that one, never? Your daughter's on it, maybe?
Possible, but I have it now, thank you.
Okay, so you have to scroll a little bit to get to Tez Zion. Okay, so that'll be a good way. So today was an easy class, all orally and very fluffy, and we'll do the poem, and then next time we'll go into the text. We'll schwitz a little, and then we'll take it we'll take it word by word, and we'll talk just one class is about Ein Sof. That Hashem has no end. What that even means. That's just like in the first few lines of this chapter. And what does it mean? It's like
It's so glibly, but we don't even know what we're doing. I would love that.
so we'll take it slow. We'll take it slow. But at least we know where we're going. At least we understand the bigger picture. Okay. So here's the poem. This poem was written based on Rabbi Naftali Silverberg's classes. So some of it is a little bit of his own, a little bit of explanation, and most of it is actually Tanya. Okay. Until now, we learned that we have the power to be in control of our behavior, but we can't suffice with the good actions we do. We must change who we are too. In order to make a change that is real, we need to change the way that we feel. Our feelings can only be changed through meditation. Mind rules over the heart has a new explanation. So until now, mind rules over heart meant being controlled. Now, mind rules over heart means mind create emotions in the heart, and change. Mind change the heart.
When it comes to meditation, everyone is like, how do I do this meditation thing? The Alter Rebbe said in Tanya that you should learn to contemplate on two parts of the Hallelikas, the praise part, and then another two parts of the Brachos before Shema.
Wow.
And that will give you a feeling that
Yeah.
And when I read it in English, yeah, because I don't understand the Russian language, so, and it definitely lifts up my davening.
Right, and that's the point. When we're davening, it's all a build-up.
Right.
We talk about the greatness of Hashem and the angels. The angels, there are different levels of angels.
Mhm.
There's a level of angels where one angel is 3 times as powerful as all the energy of this world. All the energy that it takes to create this world. That's just one angel, and there's millions of them. So I'm saying start contemplating. It's like beyond. You're like, wow, you're overwhelmed with Hashem is so infinite, and we're gonna talk about what infinite means Hashem next time. But there's a lot. Start to talk about what we could contemplate on. That's also infinite of what we could contemplate on.
Yeah. When you said eat 10,000 stars for each grain of sand.
Yeah.
I live in a little solid Amos. It's crazy. We haven't a clue.
And even crazier yet is that although we should be so insignificant because we're insignificant, yet Hashem wants you. Hashem wants your service. Hashem wants your mitzvah. Hashem wants your davening.
This great vast universe, He wants
you. Hashem created you to not only to be a Jew, but to be a chassid, to be learning Tanya. How many Jews are there in the world? What's the percentage? And of the Jews that there are, how many of them are religious Jews? And how many of them are connected to Chabad or are learning Tanya? You're talking, but Hashem chose you. Hashem chose you to be a lighthouse.
Without every person, the world is not complete.
Right? Right? But you know what? You know what? In order for a plane to take off, there's many people that you need.
Right.
You need the janitor, the custodian in the airport, and you need the baggage claim people,
Right.
and the ticket people, and the security people,
Right.
and the stewardesses, and then you need a captain.
Exactly.
We are the captains. We are the captains. We're the pilots.
Some people don't want to fly.
That's another story.
Yes,
So you need the therapist
yes.
to help the person
Yes.
not to overcome their fear of heights.
Yeah, there's some people that attack that are very scared to
Yeah.
fly. But I used to not have a fear with flying, and I had a very scary story many years ago. I thought that I'm not going to make it out of the plane. It was a very scary thing. We were like 10 minutes to land into Israel, and then all of a sudden the plane lost control.
Oh my
And there were
goodness.
girls there that are much younger than me, and they start to say Viti. I didn't think of
Wow.
it yet because I didn't think of the concept of Viti, like whatever. But I said to Helen, like I never said in my lifetime. And then it was like, and then Baruch Hashem, the plane, whatever. They didn't give us a warning. They didn't say anything. After that, they asked us how we are. I was so traumatized how I am. I
Ay,
thought I was dying. The girls said,
oh my God.
Baruch Hashem, I'm here to say the story.
Yes. Okay. Not only does the mind rule the heart to make the right decision, but the mind creates the feelings to make a lasting transformation. We're not meant to go back after 120 years the same way that we came down. So the right mind rules the heart to make the right decision to do the right behavior. But then also, we also want to be transformed. We want our insides to also change. We want our emotions to be on board. To take control of our emotions is the next step for the Beinani. To contemplate about the greatness of Hashem is the key. Contemplation is what brings emotion. There are 4 reasons where we see clearly why serving Hashem with emotion is necessary. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what Rabbi Silverberg explains, but it's not spelled out like this in the Tanya. This is just in general to explain to us why we need emotion, the advantage of it. 1, to have self-control and struggle continuously is too difficult if we aren't invested emotionally. 2, doing a mitzvah that we feel forced to do can't compare to a mitzvah that becomes alive when done with effort, excitement, and care. 3, for the mitzvah to ascend, it does require the wings of love and fear to make it fly higher. 4, when we do a mitzvah, we're not meant to stay the same. To connect, change, and grow is our aim. To make business deals with Hashem is not what we desire. We need emotion so that our relationship can blossom with passion and fire. So basically what we're saying is, what we said this is, there's two main advantages of doing mitzvahs with emotion. 1 is it's good for the mitzvah could fly higher. And 2, for ourselves, when we do mitzvahs with emotion, now we're invested in the relationship. Now it's not just a business deal. We're married to Hashem. We change when we do a mitzvah with excitement. A second principle tells how to react if we contemplate, but a full-blown love for Hashem we can't generate. Rather, the love is concealed and stuck in our brain. In the hidden places of our heart, the love does remain. What happens if our neshama comes from a place where the concept of revealed emotions doesn't exist? The emotions were still in a state of pregnancy. And that's where your neshama comes from. And therefore, it's hard for you to generate emotion. Are you a lost case? So the answer is no. There's a second principle by which the Beinani lives. Principle number 1 is that I'm going to use my intellect to create emotion. And B, if that doesn't work, I'm going to still use my intellect. And I'm going to at least get an appreciation. And then Hashem will do his work of attaching it to action for me so that it could rise and have the wings to go up to the level of Bria, like anyone else who did create emotions in the regular standard way. To meditate on ideas that should arouse love is the goal. Whether or not we feel the love is not under our control. You have to do the work. If you feel it or not, it's not your. It's okay. It's not. It's not. If you don't feel, you don't feel. It's not your fault. And if I don't feel, I still should do the mitzvah. Even if I don't feel, I should still go to the kaisel. Should still go to the ayel. Still go to holy places and to kavarim. And even if you don't feel, because you do the right thing of trying to to be mindful and trying to have your head in the right place and trying to think the proper thoughts. If you don't feel, it's okay. It's okay. You do your best. The middle ground between intellect and emotion is called tivuna. It is successful in being wings for our mitzvah, because ultimately the reason why tivuna is so great is because ultimately it gets us to do the action. The whole point of having intellect to create emotion is for what? Is for the purpose of doing the mitzvah. So here the end goal is happening. You are doing the mitzvah because you at least created an appreciation. So the mitzvah is getting done. So therefore the tavuna is so valuable.
So Tavuna, I have to get this straight in my head, exactly what Tavuna is. Tavuna is what comes from Bina. Bina gives birth to Tavuna.
Yeah, instead of emotion, sometimes, we'll get like the emotion, and sometimes emotion's not there, you get feeling, you get appreciation, even if you're not getting fired up.
So that's
Yeah.
But what happens to a person if they still lack appreciation? What happens then?
So if you're lacking appreciation, then what we should do is we have to try to work on mindfulness, trying to contemplate on all kinds of thoughts about the greatness of Hashem, which if it won't bring a fiery love, at least it will bring some level of appreciation. And in Hashem, next class, we will talk about what infinity means, which could be even like a starting point of what it's about.
I got years ago, and he speaks about a lot of like all types of different things in the world, the body, the this, the that. And people, it's good for people to read a little bit and get a little knowledge.
Yes,
Also,
absolutely. Knowledge.
like a little bit of
knowledge.
and then just slowly read it and contemplate on a little knowledge, whatever.
Yeah. Knowledge is the key. Knowledge is the key. That's where everything starts from. The more knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you understand.
It's so true.
That's what it was. It was wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. That's what Chachma Bina
If
Das.
someone wants to take away your power, is they stop you from having knowledge. That's what they do. Don't ask questions.
Oh yeah.
That's how always dictatorship was.
Right. Right. Okay. Hashem attaches a good thought to the deed, our rabbis say. It refers to someone who wanted to do a mitzvah, but something got in the way. From the word attaches, we learn that Hashem bridges for every Jew the gap between the tevuna and the deed to make our avodah true. Our natural love for Hashem propels the mitzvah to the world of emotion. What is added by the feelings we generate through meditation? Through meditation, our mitzvah ascends to the world of Bria, which is above the emotional world of Yetzira. Okay, that was a lot of words. I don't know exactly. I started writing it. It was a 5-year project, and I started writing it about 8 years ago. Yeah. So Atzilus is the world Eitzel, close to Hashem. Bria, that's a world of intellect. Yetzira is a world of emotion, and Asiya is a world of action. So everything according to what you do, that's where your mitzvah rises. So if it's just natural emotion, it will go up to the world of emotion, which is Yetzira. If-
It's where our mitzvah goes beyond our, like you spoke about, like, you don't have to worry about all but you have to, like, you have to do the right thing, where it's going is like really beyond our, no?
so just to explain, first of all these worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Tzira, is we're describing it as like places, but really it's not. Really, like we could all be living on this earth, and you could say, "Oh, that person is in Atzilus." Like he's so separated from the world, he's like in a different, like he's like in a different plane. So it's not really like worlds and that are designated to certain to actual
He's
space.
not saying where our mitzvah is going, he's saying, let's say, the power of the mitzvah, the intensity of the mitzvah.
Yeah, or the mindfulness. Like I said this story before, like you have Hasidim are traveling to their Rebbe, and they want to discuss with the Rebbe questions they have in their service of Hashem. So what do you have? You have the wagon with the Hasidim traveling to the Rebbe. You have the wagon driver, and you have the horses, and you have the horses. So the fact that the Hasidim are talking about angels in the wagon, right? So they're in a different space than the horse who's just thinking about his hay. So we're all in the same world, but the horse is in one place, is in one world, literally, right? And the Hasidim talking about angels are in a different world, even though they're in the same space. Which is another topic. And I was going to say something else, which I forgot. That's okay. What was your question again? Your question was
Why we're busy ourselves with those, you're saying.
Right.
Mitzvah goes back.
Okay. So I remember now. The Baal Shem Tov once came into a shul. The shul was empty of people. It wasn't Shachris or Mincha or Ma'ariv. And he said, I feel so claustrophobic, I can't be here. Because the people, they davened, but their davening was all stuck in the shul. They hadn't gone anywhere. Because it was just robotic. There was no emotion. So what it truly means going up is really what you said. It's the intensity of with which you did the mitzvah. How much love and investment and connection was there. So we're just saying, oh, worlds and wings and levels.
Really, the greatness of the mitzvah. Meaning, if you want your mitzvah to have more weight, to be a greater mitzvah.
Right. And ultimately it's about
Stop before you do a mitzvah. And really think about it, and you do so many mitzvahs like this or that, we really don't do that. Wow.
That's how we come here, to get a little bit more mindfulness, because
Yes.
everything starts in the mind.
Yes. When I wash my hands in the fellowship burn, I don't even start thinking about Hashem until it's Asher Kedishuni. The first part, I forgot to even, I catch myself doing that so many times.
We're so
It's
human.
really stopping each time you do a mitzvah and not doing it by rote. That's what it really is, and
Having a started.
wow.
It's a relationship. It's a
Yeah.
relationship. We're trying it's a marriage. There's a marriage going on here. And it's not just, we're not slaves. Although in other teachings, there's an advantage of
Right.
what I'm saying, we shouldn't see ourselves as I'm forced to do this, but rather I have an opportunity to enhance the relationship. And it could be and it's in the 101. It's in the smallest things. The other day was Suri's sister got married, Batsheva, and I wanted to go. And she had sent me the invitation on a Friday, and Friday was very busy for me. And I saw that she sent me, but I didn't get a chance I didn't actually read what the date was. And then on Sunday, I was just scrolling on status, and I was like, oh my gosh, the wedding's today. And Simchas Chassan Kala is 10 o'clock at night. And my husband said, Hani, do you want me to drive you to the wedding? And I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. And I was so grateful that he did, because I thought, well, the wedding halls are on Oak Street that way, but it was this way. I didn't know there was anything beyond Lake Terrace. I didn't realize. And there's two wedding halls in the same building, and the parking and the whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was raining. I was so grateful. He drove me there. He waited in the car. I came the exact perfect time. I danced at the kala. I said hello to everybody, and he waited 15 minutes in the car. And we had a little quality time there and back. And it's go the extra mile. I didn't even dream of asking him to.
He doesn't have to like train himself though to stop before each mitzvah because I do it so since I'm born, and I don't have the appreciation for the mitzvah. I would love to see how somebody accomplishes that. I would love to see how somebody does that.
It starts in this room.
Okay.
So thank you all for being here, for coming on this journey. And in Mirza Hashem, next time we're gonna do Chazara. We'll do in
But
Taiwan.
you're not sure about next week.
I'm not sure yet about next week.
Right.
That's your phone's view.
Baruch
But
Hashem.
how can I
You need
get a
to
hold of
publish
this?
that. People are
Yes.
using all over the world.
How can I
It's-
get a
it's
hold of
incredible.
this?
I'll WhatsApp it to you. I'm saying it's on the WhatsApp. I'll WhatsApp it to you.
Okay, fine, this, and then I could print it
Yeah,
out.
I
also.
never
I
printed
could
it.
have, I'm gonna ask them to print it out, because I like printed out stuff.
Okay.
No, I'll ask my daughter.
But I'll tell you, I've
because-
seen tremendous brachos from these poems. First of all, I look back at this poem and I read it and I don't know where it came from. It's obviously a bracha. It's obviously a bracha.
Hashem
I
And-
help
remember
you.
like sitting on the word.
Hashem
But
help you.
I would have what would happened was every week, not the day of I don't know if it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, the class moved sometimes. So it used to be on Tuesday, and went to Wednesday, and went back to Tuesday, whatever it was. But I was not successful in writing before the day of the class. If the class was on Tuesday, it's not like on Monday I could start writing and it would work for me. It was the pressure. Tonight is the night of the class. I have to get this done.
Mhm.
I would send the kids to school
Yeah, you share that.
and out in my pajamas until 5 minutes before the kids were coming from school. And I usually was with a nursing baby. See, that's why I was able to write so much because, I was usually home with you could do this while you're nursing, while you're holding a baby.
I used to give a class at the nursing baby.
Who knew?
Label.
All of them. I brought all the babies, but
Okay.
it was approximately 10 hours per poem. It does get easier, but I saw tremendous brachas when I had the first 12 chapters of Tanya ready. It was Yutes Kislev, which is the Rosh Hashanah for Chassidus, and WhatsApp was alive and well 6 years ago, and I WhatsApped it to whoever I knew. That was Yud Tes Kislev. My due date was Yud Tes of, which is exactly 9 months from when I shared the poem. She was born a little early, like most of my children, but that was Sprinza. And it's a 5-year project. And I was coming close to the end. What I would do is I would learn a chapter and then I would write. And it was coming close to Pesach, and I said, my daughter was dating. I said, I wanted a bracha for Mushka. And I wanted to finish already because if I didn't want to drag it until after Pesach, we're taking a month off. So I was writing, I was holding the last chapter, was learning the last chapter of Tanya, and I was writing, and all of a sudden I realized I'm done. And it was Chaf Hei Adar, which is the Rebbetzin Chai Mushka's birthday. Rebbetzin Chai Mushka is the Rebbe's wife. And my daughter is Chai Mushka as well. I thought, oh, so beautiful that I finished the day of such a special day. And that night, Mushka was going to go on a date, and she wasn't sure. And Esti Meisels, who is the one who organizes the class, she sent me a message. She said, "Oh, the hostess can't host tonight. Do you think we should cancel?" I said, "Don't cancel. Find me a place to give this class. I have to teach Tanya tonight. There's no way I'm just sitting home and waiting, watching the clock." So she found somewhere else, and I gave the class, and since I finished, my husband, he would do the layout for these poems. So I would write it, send it, and he would prepare it like this. So now that I'm finished, I said, could you send me a file of all the poems all together? So he sends me a file, 98 pages. He says, look it over, make sure everything's there. I look it over, one paragraph was missing. I had it. Sent it to him. So he sent it back to me. He sent me 100 pages of Tanya poems. This is 102 because the last poem or two, I don't know. It was something else that was added at the end, or I don't know. So he sent me 100 poems. I WhatsApped it to my daughter. I said, Mushka, I'm sending you 100 poems for 100% clarity. She went on a date. I went to teach Tanya 11:30 at night. She called me up the night that I finished the 100th poem. She said, Mom, I'm ready. So we got a son-in-law. So yeah, so I'm saying I've seen tremendous bracha with these poems. So yeah, it's a bracha. I look
such clarity when the class and then it kind of like
Consolidate.
yes,
It's a summary.
well done.
It's a summary, but Baruch Hashem, it's straight from Hashem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hashem, for helping me be the vessel.
Yeah.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for being here.